this is not a question of fixing the women. It is a question of improving the allocation to the benefit of the firm.
It's well known that women don't reach top positions in organizations to the extent that men do, and some talk about, or many talk about, a glass ceiling that women are facing in organizations. So, Professor Lise Vesterlund, you have a recent experimental study about this issue where you propose one explanation for why that might be. So, can you tell us briefly about what your results are?
Most of the research that has been done to date has sort of been focusing on women not leaning in, not competing, not negotiating enough. And you could imagine that women ending up, because of those factors, with fewer very promotable, attractive tasks that will advance the organization and advance their careers. However, in an organization, there are also many less promotable tasks that have to be done within the organization, but that no one actually wants to do. And what we studied was the allocation of these less promotable tasks. And what we find in our experimental study is that women, more than men, will volunteer for such tasks, that they're more likely to be asked to do them. And when they are asked, they're more likely to accepting those requests. So they end up with a much higher share of less promotable tasks in their portfolio, which could help explain not so much why they're not leaning in, but why they're actually held back because of these tasks.
Does your study say anything about why that gender difference is there?
It's really a question of beliefs, that when the women are present, they're expected to take on the less promotable task and they live up to that expectation. And indeed, the fact that we see them being asked more and saying yes more is also consistent with that belief.
What should we do about that? Should we encourage women to say no more? Is that the right recipe? Or?
So we don't want to do that. Right. The fact that it's driven by beliefs actually suggests that there are quite a few things that we can do about it. There are many other ways that we can allocate these less promotable tasks. You could randomly assign it to someone in the group. You could take turns to take on these tasks.
Should we encourage corporations to kind of take these measures just for them to be nice to women, or is it something that they could benefit from as well?
Oh, absolutely. The organizations could benefit from it. One of the examples that I love hearing about is that organizations actually now are recommending to women that they should, when there is a client that generates less revenue that's being allocated in the firm, is that they should look around and see what it is that the men are doing at the same time. So rather than getting to that uncomfortable stage where they feel pressured to accept a task, to mimic the behaviors of the men, see how they're looking at their phones, how they're packing up their bag, and wait occasionally for someone else. But the recommendation is certainly not for people to go out and say no. What's key here is that these are tasks that the organizations need to get done. We don't want it to be the case that we stop looking at these tasks as something that is part of our jobs. Looking at the request and potentially negotiating for better tasks is something that the individual can do. But this is not a question of fixing the women. It is a question of improving the allocation to the benefit of the firm.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.